wanted to just kind of share some things, a few nuggets that I got out of dealing with abandonment issues. And I'm not a psychiatrist yet, but I am a minister of the Lord, glory. And so we can give a few helps to get you where you need to be in your life. And so we're just going to get right on into it. I really thank all of you who are on here. I see Aletha. I see Mona. Thank you guys for joining in. I see Cornelius. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join in. And just wave and let me know you're there. Let me know that you are here listening. Again, like and share if it's something you think that could benefit anybody in your life. But we're going to get into it. And so I was looking up the word abandonment. And abandonment is a situation where you have received loss, great loss. Loss of a loved one, loss of a parent, maybe loss of a caregiver. And so we tend to get those abandonment issues when we're younger. They say it's very few times that an adult can actually get abandonment issues, but there are cases. But for the most part, that crisis happens when we are younger. And it's when we lose someone who is precious to us. Someone walks out, they never return. Maybe they went to go get a gallon of milk and got lost, didn't know how to come back. Or, maybe they just decided this is not what I want to do with my life. And they left you abandoned. They left you feeling insecure. They left you feeling like you were not worth their time. And so we tend to take on these issues and crises that happen to us, and we carry them in our lives. We carry them like they are badges of honor because we don't really know how to process them. Many times, especially as children, we can't even put words to what we're feeling. We know we're feeling bad and we're feeling some type of way, but we don't know how to put words to it. And so we grow up with these issues and we can't figure out why we are stumbling and why we're falling all over the place and why it seems like things are not working out for our good. So researching abandonment, probably a lot of us could really, really attest to having an abandonment issue. Maybe your dad or your mom didn't leave you, but maybe someone passed away that you held dear to your heart. And or maybe, someone spoke something to you that caused you severe trauma. So it could be a lot of things that causes abandonment issues, but we are going to talk about it from the perspective of fatherlessness, because that is my experience. Fatherlessness, growing up, as many of you already know. Hello, cousin Dion. Hey, Tiffany, and hey, Benny. Thank you guys for joining. As many of you all know, I grew up without my dad. And I do want to just stop right there and say, thank God that we have reconciled. It's been 6 years now, I believe, 5 years. And so super excited about that. But I spent 33 years without my dad in my life. And that was one of the hardest things I ever had to overcome. And so I grew up with fatherless issues. I grew up with an identity crisis. I grew up searching and looking for acceptance, looking for closure, looking for someone to validate me. And so I absolutely carried many abandonment issues because I had a lot going on in my life. I lost my sister when she was 13, I was 14. And I think that was the moment that I really could really put words to that feeling of abandonment. When we buried her and put her in the ground, I tell you, I felt like a piece of my soul went with her. I felt like she was the only piece that I had left on this earth that I could connect to and relate to. So when I lost my sister, I definitely picked up an abandonment issue because I felt like she left me, and she left me in a crisis that we were already dealing with. A lot was going on at that particular time in our lives. And so I carried a lot of baggage throughout my life. I carried a lot of hurt, and I responded so horrible to many people, to maybe my family, certainly my husband. I'm gonna write a book about that one day, but I had severe abandonment issues. And so now that God has healed my heart, my mind, and my soul, I can see so clearly how crazy I was. And I want to use that word because I can't imagine thinking now how I was thinking then. And so let's get right into how we can identify abandonment issues in ourselves. Maybe you don't even recognize that you are dealing with an abandonment issue. Maybe you've never really understood why you are responding the way you are, or why you react the way you are to certain things. And sometimes if you just think about your life and just kind of reflect on where you've been, the situations you've been through, you'll be able to see that maybe, yeah, I am carrying some abandonment issues. You can have one or you can have many. There are many signs out there. We're going to only talk about 4. That's the ones that I wanted to really just kind of focus on, was these 4 that I know for sure I had. So I want to talk about what I know, not about what I actually read, but what I recognized within myself that I dealt with, because I can I can help more people when I talk about my situation, when it comes into what I'm learning about being fatherless and about healing. And so my first one was always wanting to please others. Man, if I tell you, I cried many nights because I did things I really didn't want to do, but because I was trying to please somebody. I was trying to find that acceptance. I was trying to get them to love me. I was trying to get them to notice me. And so, yeah, I was a big people pleaser. And that is very draining. That is very depressing. That takes a lot from you. You really are not being yourself because you're too busy trying to be what other people want you to be. So if you are doing that, if you are a people pleaser, and it's okay to, do things for people just because they want you to, but you have to have what they call boundaries. You have to have a place where you say, that I really don't want to do that, so I'm not, and be okay with it. For me, no, if someone said something or wanted me to do something and I didn't know how to say no, I was scared to say no. And I was like, well, if I say no, they may not like me. If I say no, what would they think of me? Because I'm looking for acceptance and validation and affirmation. So I didn't know how to not be a people pleaser. And that was one of my greatest problems. It was many, but that was one of them, was just wanting people to accept me. And many times they really didn't. They didn't. I'm too busy. I'm running around like a chicken with her head cut off, trying to please people. And at the end of the day, they went on about their business once I completed the task. And so, if that's you, I want to encourage you to bring that in a little bit. Bring that people pleasing into you. Please yourself. Please God. Please, your family. But don't stretch yourself too far out to people who really don't have your best interests at heart. And you need to know those people, and you need to be able to have a keen eye about who those people are in your circle, because you could find yourself in some really, really bad places. You could really do things that could be detriment to your heart and your life. And so bring that in. Don't be a people pleaser. The second one was, I could not trust people. How crazy. I'm going to try to please you, but I don't really trust you. Man, it took me years to really let down the guard, let down the walls, and trust the people who were good for me. I had had so many horrible situations and relationships that trust factor was gone. I mean, I had none. I didn't even trust myself. I couldn't trust myself to do right by my own self. So I definitely couldn't trust other people to do right by me, even the ones that were striving to help build me and to mold me into the woman that you see today. I did. It took me a long time to trust them. It took me a long time to share my life with people. It took me years to let down the walls and the mistrust and the frustrations that I was feeling because I couldn't trust people. And when you are living a life where you can't trust anybody, you are basically a lonely person. Because what you do is and this goes into our third one, is you push people away before they have a chance to reject you. And that's because you don't trust them. And that was me. As soon as someone was getting close to me, I was like, yeah, no, you got to back up. Give me some space. Give me 3 feet. And depending on who it was, give me 6 feet, and I'm talking about people who were good for me, people who were trying to speak life into my spirit. Those are the people that I pushed away. And then I accepted the people, I received the people who were not good for me. And so if you find yourself there, work on your trust factor. Work on doing things that you can say, hey, I'm going to build myself in this area with this person because I know that they are not going to intentionally hurt me. Yes, people will hurt us. That the key word is intentional. Sometimes people are not trying to hurt us, but they do because they're human. But if you have that person in your life who has your best interests at heart, that person without shadow of a doubt that I can depend on them, then lean in a little more to that person or those people. Lean in a little closer to them. Allow them to be there for you, but don't push them away because then you're going to find yourself alone. You're going to find yourself crying at night, feeling like no one is there to support you. No one is there to lead or guide you. No one is there to hold you up. And many times we feel depressed because we're lonely. And it's simply because we push people away. We are the ones creating that box. And the thing is, if you put yourself in a box to close yourself off from people, then you can't receive anything. You can't give anything and you can't receive anything because you're sheltering yourself. So let's work on trusting the proper people. And the third one, as we already said, pushing people away before they can reject you. Wow. When you deal with a lot of rejection, people intentionally not wanting you, giving you that indication you are not good enough, telling you, some people have verbally told you, you are not worthy of love. You will never be anything. You will never amount to anything. You are nothing. Then, we kind of take those words and we wear them and they form us to be who we are. But we have to we have to stop pushing people away before they reject us. And that's when that trust factor comes in. I was really big at that. I wanted people to love me. I wanted to feel accepted, but I was afraid. I wanted to be a friend and I wanted them to be a friend to me, but I was afraid. And I was a good friend because I know how it feels not to have a friend. So I'm the type of person, I would be a ride or die friend. Anybody that knows me. If you tell me something personal, man, I take it to the grave. You don't go anywhere because I know what it means to tell stuff and then someone else speaks about it to someone that should know. So I'm a ride or die kind of friend and I wanted that, but then I was afraid of it. So I would reject people. I would push them away before they got too close to me, before I realized, wait, I'm setting myself up for failure. When really, no, I was just afraid. I'm dealing with an abandonment issue. Our fourth one is the need for continued reassurance. You know, we can do some marvelous and great things, but we think we need somebody to say, girl, you did a good job. Come on, girl. You know, we feel like we have to have someone else to vindicate us or someone else to affirm us. That's the right word I want to use, affirm us, because we don't have that assurance in our own selves. That is a red flag for abandonment issues. You do need people to say, hey, that was a good job. But when you continually, on every occasion, every time you do something that you think is good, you think you need somebody to tell you, hey, pat on the back, pat on the back. That's a sure sign of an abandonment issue. Reason being is because we never got that assurance when we were younger. We never got that foundation that you were good enough and that you are okay the way you are. The Bible says that he makes us perfectly. He makes us perfectly. So we can't judge ourselves based off of what we've been through. Most of those things that we've been through are to help us to be stronger, to be wiser, to be more powerful, for God to use those weaknesses. The Bible says he will be strong in our weaknesses, but we don't want to accept the weaknesses. We use them as badges of honor. Those weaknesses, we use them like, oh, woe is me. And that's what I mean by badges of honor. We wear them like we want people to notice the weakness in us, but we don't have to keep grappling for assurance. Just look in the mirror. Look at yourself and tell yourself you are good enough. How many times have I had to do that? Many, many times. Many, many times. Because as long as I'm looking for someone else to give it to me, then I'm repeating those 4 steps over and over again. I want to please people. And then I turn around and can't trust you. And then I'm going to push you away before you get a chance to get too close. And then there I go again. Need some more reassurance. And so today, I want you to just kind of evaluate yourself and what you've been through in your life. You don't have to display it out, but maybe write it out on some pen and paper, write it down and say, hey, these are some issues that I think I'm dealing with. And they're called abandonment issues. And I want to get over it. So how do you help somebody to get over it? There is no medical diagnosis for abandonment issues, although it is a very common crisis. But medically, they haven't put a word to it. They will call it anxiety. Depending on how severe it is, they will say you have anxiety. But ways that we can kind of work on ourselves. First one for me is prayer. First one for me is Christ. I'm studying psychology, and I'm studying to be there to see how the brain works and all that. But what I do know, the foundation is I need God. And without him, I wouldn't have made it where I am today. So he's first and foremost in my life. So how can I get over my abandonment issues? I'm going to pray. I'm going to ask God to first reveal them to me. Show me where I'm weak. Show me where I need to be built. Show me what I need to tear down. Give me insight on where I need to be. The second one is find you someone that you can trust, as we said earlier. Someone that can lead you. Someone that's probably been where you are trying to go, or they are where you're trying to go. I cannot go to the blind man and ask him to lead me. What does the Bible say? We both are going to fall in the ditch. So I have to find somebody that's higher than me. Iron sharpens iron. So I'm not going to go buy me some wood to sharpen my iron. I need some more iron. And so I need to find someone that has been through it, that has overcame it, so that when I go to them, I could say, please help me get over these issues because I don't want them in my life anymore. I realize that I'm like that little rat on the wheel. I'm just spinning and spinning. I'm moving and I'm going, but I'm not progressing. I'm not growing. And I'm just wearing myself out, trying to do things, trying to get things. I would say just stay calm. Stay calm in how you are reacting and responding to the things in your life. What does that mean, Markeida? Stay calm. You know, we can blow things up and we can overreact. And as soon as something rubs us wrong, we are exploding with rage and anger. But sometimes just kind of pull back a little bit and say, hey, why am I responding like that? What is it in me that's causing me to act like this? And many times you can kind of know. And it's that abandonment issue flaring up. It's that lack of security that you feel. You don't feel secure, so the best thing to do is explode and go off the handle on everybody and anybody. But pull yourself in and gather yourself so that you can stay calm. Give yourself space to open up. Open up to somebody. We carry every emotion in us. We are so afraid to say, hey, that was me. We don't want anybody to know our faults. And I got to look good, you know, for those of you that wear makeup and you put your little stuff on, you know, you look good on the outside, but on the inside, you a wreck. And you're screaming for help. You're screaming for somebody to see you. You're screaming. And that's why you can go off and respond the way you do in certain situations, is because that's what you really want, is somebody to help you. So open up a little bit. Find that person that you can confide in, that you can share those dark secrets with, that you know that they won't go and blast it everywhere and put your faults out on social media or to your neighbor or to anybody, but there's somebody you can lean on. And the next one is, hey, just be honest. Be honest about what you're feeling. Sometimes we think, oh no, I can't reveal that, or I can't say that, or I can't let you know that you're right about me. Why? Because then that hurts our pride. It makes us feel like we're out of control. But it's okay. It's okay for you to be honest about what you're feeling, because we're trying to get over abandonment issues. What did Mary say? And I used this when I shared this on Facebook. I said, the song says, I got to get myself together because I got some place to go. You know, if we want to go somewhere, we got to start pulling off some of them baggages. Some of us just carrying bags, and we're carrying so much, and we're so weighted down. It's time to just start taking that stuff out, just ripping it out, doing what you got to do so you can go somewhere. I tell you, when I finished writing Dear Dad, I would never stop saying this. You probably will get sick of hearing me. But when I finished writing Dear Dad, when I finished that book, it was like I was reborn again. Because many of those things I kept inside. Many of those stories I had never shared with anyone. Even my mother didn't know certain things, because I'm trying to put this facade like I'm okay. But really I'm not okay. I was not okay. And the tell sign was when I lay down at night and I'm crying nearly every night. Because once I got in the bed, then that's where vulnerability came. And tears began to flow, and I could feel the brokenness in my spirit. But once I finished writing that book for the world to read, whoever decide they want to read that book, it scared me at first. It was like, girl, you have lost your mind. But when I got that first print, they sent me that first print, it was like liberation. Because it was no longer a secret. It was no longer a hindrance. It was no longer in my closet, tucked away in that little pretty pink suitcase that I wanted. You know, if you look in there, it look all neat and good. No, I let it out. And some of us just need to just be honest and let it out. However you think you should. Mine was to the world. Yours don't have to be to the world. But whatever you do, let's get rid of our abandonment issues. As Alicia said, it's time to be free. Freedom. We got to get tired of repeating the same things over and over and over and just not going anywhere. And then we're giving it to our children. Then our children grow up and then they give it to their children. And we are just repeating generational curses because we are afraid to let it go. We are afraid to be free. Some of us have been stuck so long, we are afraid to just be free. We wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. That was me. I know that. I was like, I don't know. Okay, now what I do? What do I do now? Like, hey, I'm so used to feeling depressed. I'm so used to feeling down. I'm so used to not being on top of the world. So what do I do now with this newfound freedom? I tell you what, be free. That's what I did. I was like, okay, let's just do the thing. Let's just be free. Let's live that life. I have lived depressed long enough. I have lived sad long enough. I have suffered with abandonment issues long enough. I have suffered with rejection issues long enough. I have been fatherless long enough. I've been angry long enough. So let's try something different and see where that takes me. And I tell you, God has moved mountains in my life because I decided to let it go. And I want that for you. I want you to be free. I want you to experience whatever God has for you. You may not be what I am or who I am or what I'm striving to continue to be, but whatever it is that you need, that you have in your life, that God has planned for you, let's try to be it, because we're about living. We're living in a time, 2020, where so many things are happening. We don't know what tomorrow holds. And I do not want us to die not living our purpose. That's why we're here, to live the purpose that God has petitioned for us. He created us to live free, to live whole. We don't have to die bound up and confused and not knowing our next step. So let's get over those abandonment issues. Let's go back in your mind. Think about it. Who walked out of your life and never came back? Who died and left you? What person in your relationship decided, I quit, I don't want you, I don't want this, and I'm getting out of here, and left you? And once you can identify that problem, then you are able to fix it. And what you do is stop giving it control. Stop giving it power. My sister would have been 45 on Saturday, last Saturday. She died when she was 13. And I could continue to carry that burden. But you know what? I decided I'm not going to carry that burden anymore. God gave me 13 great years with her. I'm going to let that be what's good for my life. And everything else that tries to come and bring depression and bring all types of thoughts and confusion, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to receive that. So I encourage you on today to identify your abandonment issues. And if you can't do it on your own, you find somebody that can help you. Find somebody that can pray with you. Find somebody you can talk to help you pull it up, to help you to not erase it, because I never want it to erase, but to help you to use it for the right purpose. Somebody in your life, in your circle, need to know they can be delivered from abandonment. And you know what else? When we deal with abandonment issues, you know what we think of God? When he don't answer our prayers, when he don't do what we think he ought to do, you know what we feel? Abandoned. All of that bleeds over into how we deal with God. That rejection, that disappointment, it reflects our life in God. And God doesn't abandon us. His word says he would never leave us nor forsake us. But we tend to think he got up, packed his bags, and left, like my daddy, like your mother, like your uncle, or whomever, your husband or your wife. God doesn't do that to us. So once we can fix those abandonment issues, we're going to look at God in a whole new light. We're going to realize he was there the entire time. Man, when I think about where I've been, I know God was there for me. But at the time, I didn't see it. I thought he left me like everybody else. I thought he left me like my sister. And she didn't have any choice over that, but I still felt abandoned. So I encourage you to seek out those abandonment issues and let's work on them. If you need me, I'm here. Inbox me. If you have my number, you can call me. I am open and willing to pray with you, to talk with you, to share with you, to help anybody that need help. Again, thank you for joining me. All of you, thank you so much for chiming in. Like, share it with somebody you know need this help. And we will be back on next Thursday, guys. I'm going to continue to do this. I feel so good right now. So thank you for supporting me. All of you that hold me accountable, thank you for that, so that I can be who God has called me to be. I love each and every one of you. You have a great evening. Okay, bye-bye.